What's your New Year's resolution? This question catches me like a deer in headlights, despite the fact that it is asked on a totally predictable schedule. I often avoid answering by saying, actually, my New Year happened back in the fall. Resolutions feel like a waste of time to me, a way to set ourselves up for disappointment. Surveys find that most people abandon their goals by mid-year, and many stop as early as February. Still, despite some mild perfectionist tendencies I have, my opposition to this New Year's practice isn't mainly about the struggle to follow through. It's about the motivations behind the resolutions. Companies capitalize on our insecurities to sell juice cleanses that leave us hangry and fitness plans that we feel guilty for abandoning. Criticism masquerades as wellness, as we are encouraged to turn our gaze inward, but only on a surface level. So, I was determined today to avoid the topic of New Year's resolutions altogether. That is, until I considered this week's Parsha, which it turns out is all about resolutions. To be more accurate and less anachronistic, the biblical text talks about oaths. But what is a resolution if not an oath that we make to ourselves? Our Torah portion opens on Jacob, who has grown old in the land of Egypt and knows that his time is coming to an end. He asks his son Joseph for a pledge to bury his remains in Canaan in the tomb of the patriarchs. Even though his son affirms that he will fulfill this wish, Jacob pushes further. He insists, "Hishavali, swear to me," to secure a solemn oath. Having obtained this promise twice over, you would think that Jacob would drop the matter. And yet, at the end of our story, he issues the same command to all of his other sons. This time, he describes the burial place at great length, including its location, how it was procured, and the names of others already interred there. This issue is so important to Jacob that he uses his last words to describe the gravesite. Why does Jacob act in this way? It's strange to demand a promise twice from one person, and then to charge many more people with the same command. It's also strange to provide such detailed directions to the tomb, given that the sons all grew up in Canaan, and their mother Leah is already buried there. As bizarre as this behavior seems, there must be wisdom behind it because it works. Jacob's remains were brought up to Canaan. His sons managed to achieve what so many of us fail to do. They followed through on a promise, an oath, a resolution. So what's the secret ingredient? What made this resolution successful? The answer is twofold. Both the methods and the motivations behind this oath help to ensure its fulfillment. Jacob is intentional about how he secures this oath, and the methods he uses are the opposite of those we employ for New Year's today. We are often vague or secretive about our resolutions because they involve breaking so-called bad habits that make us feel self-conscious. But Jacob verbalizes his wishes in great detail and unapologetically owns his desires. We also tend to set goals as individuals operating in a vacuum, whereas Jacob readily enlists the help of others. By its very nature, a person's last will and testament requires the help of another to act as executor. Jacob turns to Joseph, his most well-connected and powerful child. So why wasn't that oath enough? Why did he also command his other sons? Because oaths are difficult. We are not the only ones who struggle to keep our promises. The biblical text repeatedly shows how challenging oaths are to fulfill. Abraham's servant swears to find a suitable wife for Isaac, but worries that he will falter. God swears to give us a land flowing with milk and honey, but years of warfare are still required to obtain it. And we cannot even count the number of times the Israelites violate the covenant they make at Sinai. So Jacob wisely enlists help for his helper. Instead of one son carrying the burden alone, all 12 take part. They become accountability partners or accountability buddies. This idea is popular today, and it can be used to help us in situations ranging from working out to completing assignments to managing negative emotions. According to research, such partners help us stay on track and make it more likely that we will hit our goals. Let's turn now from the how to the why and examine the motivations behind the oath that Jacob secures. Jacob is in touch with two difficult and conflicting emotions: anxiety and hope. He has vacillated for years between fortune and hardship, love and heartache. He has learned how little control he has in life, so it's no wonder that he's nervous about what will happen after death. Yet, despite his well-founded anxieties, Jacob is not despondent or apathetic. We don't ask for pledges when we are pessimistic. We don't make resolutions if we lack resolve. Jacob has hope in the future, in his children, and in the possibility that his wishes will be respected even after he's gone. It is because Jacob is willing to engage with these feelings that he's able to formulate a profound and principled request. He asks to be buried near his wife, his parents, and his grandparents. He is reminding his sons that Egypt is temporary and the land of Canaan is home. He creates one central location for his descendants to visit and pay their respects. Jacob's request is rooted in dearly held values: family, togetherness, continuity, and home. We, too, can move beyond the surface level and set goals grounded in our values. In fact, we are perfectly positioned to imitate Jacob's model. Have you ever entered a new year with more anxiety or more hope than this one? Let's take a moment then to reset our New Year's resolutions. Let's delve deeper into our emotions, identify our values, and formulate resolutions that we will actually keep. Rather than trying to change our bodies to fit an unattainable, airbrushed image, let's go on walks because we love the outdoors, or work to increase our stamina to keep up with the grandkids. Let's not overhaul our pantries to follow a new fad diet. Let's try buying local produce to support nearby farms, or minimizing meat and dairy consumption to benefit the planet. And even though food and fitness-related goals are perennially popular, consider going farther outside the box. Ask yourself, what complex emotions have I been feeling or avoiding? What is it that I value? What resolution would reflect and help advance this introspective work? I'm going to answer these questions now, and in so doing, I invite you all to become my accountability buddies. I have dealt with conflicting emotions, feeling both distracted and inspired. Distracted because it's hard to concentrate on Zoom calls, hard not to worry about the news, hard when living alone not to turn on a podcast or a TV show and just get comfortable with silence. Yet I have also been inspired by the support of my family, by the resilience of my friends, by the incredible warmth of this community. And these past 10 months have taught me how much I value connection. So, in the new year, I resolve to call at least one person per week and devote my full attention to that conversation. No washing dishes or checking Instagram. No prepping dinner or struggling to keep up while walking the dog. I will be less distracted, more inspired, and certainly more connected to the wonderful people in my life. May 2021 be filled with insight and meaning, and whatever your feelings, your values, and your resolutions, may you be blessed with a happy new year.